Okay, you guys, are you ready to row?
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
How about you? Are you ready to row?
Well, not quite. If we really want to get into the rowing Rogue will be getting ready for, we have to go back a few years to a time before Rogue was Rogue. In 2015, Ashland Rowing Club was a great place to make new friends and try and learn a new sport, but it wasn't a place you would see medal qualifying boats or a nationally acknowledged adaptive team. No, my friends. ARC was a bunch of very happy, but very unled group of individuals. That was until our savior, the one, the only, Rick Brown, from downtown. We go back to fall 2015 to start this journey. A majority of our team is from Ashland High School rather than the blend of the Rogue Valley that better suits today's name. Things were much more lackluster, but there were similarities to today. In the fall, we traveled to both Head of the American and Head of the Lagoon. After an incident at one of the fall regattas, and frustration from those that weren't expecting the change into a competitive nature of the team, a large portion of the previous varsity team left in the fall and didn't return for the spring season. Nevertheless, the juniors program only had great places to go rather than worse places to be, so we moved forward. That spring, ARC did recruiting more north in the valley, bringing in some rowers from South Medford and St. Mary's, including members that are still on the team today. We did our first ergathon, a now time-honored tradition on the juniors team. We held a one-week double training session at the boathouse that would soon to be replaced with the glorious Shasta training trip. We attended Covered Bridge and Northwest Regionals. While we didn't walk away as triumphant beasts with shoulders heavy from medals, we did walk away with bodies sore and excitement blooming for the potential this team could have with its new ideology, to work hard and to see the places this team can go. And boy, does this spark ignite a roaring Rogue fire in just a few years to come. Before moving on, the next fall season of the juniors, we note a monumental moment in the club history, the first time the U.S. junior national team uses the Rogue Rowing Boathouse as a practice location, bringing a wider recognition to our small little Southern Oregon team. Jumping to fall 2016, we introduced another new face to the team. The one and only Tommy McNamara becomes head of the novice squad. Our name change is finally made, leaving many a referee confused when calling up boats to the start line, I might add. But it was good to see the name now represented more than just the Ashland members of the team. The team grows closer to throwing fun events such as the Halloween row, where rowers from all across the club tote some crazy costume while racing in wild boats on Immigrant Lake. We once again head to Head of the American, but this year we didn't attend Head of the Lagoon and instead made our transition to the Arete CrossFit, later CrossFit Inconceivable, for our first half marathon erg race. Juniors created teams of 4 to 5 and busted out over 21 collective kilometers on the erg. It was great to see the team face a new and very difficult challenge, which is now a loved yearly tradition. That spring, we welcomed more novices and took delight as we watched our small little team grow bigger and bigger. At this point in time, there were only 4 varsity men, making a lot of different lineups an impossibility, unlike our abilities today. We attended our first ever Shasta spring training trip, and even with blisters covering every hand and sun rashes burning on everyone's shoulders, it instantly became one of the biggest highlights of the spring season. Shasta showed a shift in not just enhancements to the rowing of the team, but the close-knit nature of the team itself, as it allowed teammates to have fun and learn to become friends with the people they've spent so many hours in boats with. This team dynamic makes Rogue a powerhouse in and of itself for fostering such strong bonds that only ever create stronger in-boat connections, which leads to what we all like to see, fast boats. This paid off when we saw a bit more medalage after our escapades in both Covered Bridge and Northwest Regionals in 2017. In fact, 2017 Regionals was a big turning point as we saw many boats in the novice and junior varsity category shine their hardware as we took our bus ride back to the Rogue Valley. That summer once again brought big changes to Rogue, hosting the U18 men's high performance camp on Immigrant, holding many learn to row sessions that brought in new members to the team, and summer practices that allowed for fun times in boats even in the off season. To add to all that, Alexis Benton and Sam Powell traveled down to Sarasota, Florida to attend World Rowing Championships, representing not only Rogue, but the best that the Northwest had to offer. Fall 2017 sees the final addition to the now iconic trio as Jonathan Chris joins the coaching staff. While the smoke of the summer prevented immediate training on the lake, Rogue toughened it out by practicing in the Ashland High School gym for the first few weeks of fall. However, that didn't stop us from going nuts on the water come regatta time. Varsity members attended Head of the Dog in Portland, nearly all medaling. Then, the whole team attended Lake Cup sprints and had a lot of fun ripping their all against other teams in a 1K sprint. We returned to Head of the American and had a select group of varsity and novice turn to Head of the Lagoon to race some competitive Southwest teams. The team grew closer with Saturday practice hikes and more events such as the half marathon at Arete. This time, however, a handful of varsity took the challenge of soloing the half marathon, with Alexis Benton going as far to tackle the entire marathon on the erg by herself, setting a national record for her age group. To top it all off, Rogue was voted Club of the Year by US Rowing in 2017. The team continued to only get closer and closer, novice and varsity alike, spending time with each other in or outside of practice. It's because of these connections that Rogue Juniors are so much like family and a place so many can call just that. Spring 2018 brought a return to Shasta, this time with even more intense training, some musical accompaniment, with just a splash of Ladybird to mix it all together. While we usually had a home regatta where Humboldt would come to race us on Immigrant, we mixed it up this year by stopping there on our way to Shasta, leading to a new experience in rowing in moving bay waters.
That is some great content, prime content.
We once again compete at Covered Bridge on Dexter Lake, where the weather keeps the tradition of pure, soggy chaos. Following that, Northwest Regionals proved that Rogue is no longer some little nobody, but a name worth looking out for on the racecourse. Summer once again held the ODP training camps at Emigrant Lake. Summer rowing took a bit of a more competitive step by finishing with a regatta at Green Lake in Seattle and the half marathon row in Petaluma. Cindy Bichelle made a cameo as a guest coach during the summer, but we'll be hearing more from her later. Fall 2018 saw the introduction to the famous, or possibly infamous, Speed Lab. While smoke levels will still a bother, such as the year prior, this year Rogue was prepared with our own indoor workout facility in downtown Ashland. Switching between the lake for tech and the Speed Lab for hard and wild workouts definitely made the team much faster. We traveled to Seattle to compete in the very unique Tail of the Lake, followed only a week later with the return of Lake Cup. Head of the American performances shined with many fast boats hitting the water. We returned to a small turnout at Head of the Lagoon as well, due to the ongoing smoke in California. But that also led to lots of medals, even if it was because there were very few other boats competing, but a victory nonetheless. We spent that winter in the Speed Lab, gaining strength through events like the Half Marathon, Winter Points Challenge, and the Hour of Power. We even sent 3 of our boys to Youth Regional Challenge, Cormac Webb, Benjamin Sandow, and Sam Powell. That spring, we kick it into high gear with indoor sprints in the Pear Factory, Shasta training during our spring break. Covered Bridge brings a lot of rain, but Rogue brings a lot of speed. All in all, the motivation and the drive of the team is high, and we see good things to come. We hold another ergathon in the plaza of downtown Ashland to raise money for races. This all leads up to Northwest Regionals 2019, where Catherine Vasey and Annalise Kerschel become Rogue's first members to qualify for national championships in Sarasota, Florida. Shortly after that, it's ruled that a super close call and time comparisons also allow for Rowan Wallace and Sam Powell to compete at nationals as well. This milestone is a triumph to not only the rowers going, but the entire team that has witnessed the growth of the club and where great work can take you. That summer, things don't stop for a minute. The national qualifiers head to Florida and compete with the boys placing 9th nationally and the girls snatching 22nd. ODP returns to Immigrant with many Rogue members attending. Summer rowing returns to Green Lake, bring back a good collection of hardware to end the summer strong. After 5 years of rowing and growing, Rogue holsters quite the team. Sydney joins to build us a kick-butt novice squad. We hold our first developmental program skills competition, featuring a lot of crazy on-the-water antics. The entire club has some river shenanigans thanks to Steve Kiesling. And finally, we host Rock the Dock, a fundraiser to pay for a new dock for the new boathouse. The women's team makes Rogue history when the women's bid to race a 4 at Head of the Charles is accepted, sending Lily Luce, Catherine Vasey, Annalise Kerschel, Avery Dreyer, and Jillian Hammond to Boston to compete with the boats from across the country. The men's team may not have gotten their bid accepted, but with such large numbers, they were able to get racing aids together and do some major damage at Head of the American and Head of the Lagoon, even placing second in the men's 8 at the latter. Winter 2019 saw us return to CrossFit Inconceivable after we said our not-so-tearful goodbyes to the Speed Lab that fall. We once again got lots of training in. Being able to use the weights that were owned by the gym meant lots of great strength building. We also mixed it up with the half marathon this year by being a quarter marathon on the erg and a quarter marathon on a run. A strong fall got high hopes for a fast spring, but unfortunately, COVID-19 caused all spring racing to be canceled. Of course, this isn't the end of Rogue, but this is a blip in the timeline that won't necessarily be looked back at with big smiles and happy memories. While the future is unknown for the most part, we can look back to Rogue's past as a guide to what is next in store for the juniors team. In only 5 years, I, as well as Rick, Kate, Benton, and Lacey, have watched the astonishing evolution of this team, watched it grow into the powerhouse it is today. And I can say with my utmost certainty that this is only the beginning of the great places Rogue will go.